よしよし、ありがとう。
Delivery kitty.
どうしたの？いや、急ごう。ん？なるほどね。これは炭治郎が。ごちゃごちゃうるせえ。やめろ。
What's up, guys? Seth here, joined by Chevy. We just watched episode 13 of Demon Slayer. Quick recap. We have gotten to the resolution of the fight that was in the prior episode. Tanjiro up against the demon of the Mystery Mansion, the one that's hitting his Suzumi and making all the rooms change. Of course, in this fight, Tanjiro ends up winning, besting Kyugai. But we are given some background on this character before he was a demon, where he was essentially trying to write and pursue the Suzumi thing, which makes sense now with the whole powers.
Shut-in artist type, yeah.
Exactly. And did not get the, I guess, support and recognition that he sought after. And so we got this fight. It was a cool fight. It was a little simple in the sense of like it's just a room overwhelming, essentially. It wasn't even necessarily about the fight. It was about Tanjiro being overwhelmed by the situation, learning from the situation, which he seems to be doing in a lot of the fights, which is always fun.
While being injured.
While trying to overcome the broken bones that I don't know how he's ever going to overcome, being tossed around like that. And then is able to finally move in, strike, get Kyugai's head off, which, as anybody who's watching the show with us or seen it already knows, this does kill the demon, but also the demons seem to deteriorate slowly. So during this time, Tanjiro truly amazed by this demon's ability, told him that his abilities were amazing, and that resonated with Kyugai, the demon, as he, as far as we know, has not heard that before. So even though Tanjiro was clear about he'll never be able to forgive him for all the innocent people he killed, it's still added, as I'm seeing as a constant theme in this show so far, at least an understanding, a humanity to the demon. I don't particularly like this character a whole lot, and I'm also with Tanjiro, like, well, you're killing all these fucking innocent people. Mm-hmm. But it does give you this idea of this was a person with thoughts, feelings, and it does, even though in like a 3-episode arc that can go quick, like it did, it adds a little bit of flavor, adds a little bit of, there is something to this other than him just killing the bad guys. So we got that. And then Zenitsu was still running around with, I can't remember the character's name, but the little boy that he had found earlier in prior episodes. The house at one point during the fight was flipping, and they fell out of the house during that time through an interesting way that they did it. They showed from Tanjiro's perspective first, and then they kind of went and did a fucking Quentin Tarantino, went back and showed it from a different perspective. Zenitsu finds out that he hit his head. We get a funny moment where he's freaking out, assuming he's gonna die. Kind of like a little kid. He's like fine at first, and then he finds some blood. And he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna die." And then they're met with Boar Guy, who's just running around. I forgot what he says. Something through. Coming through. With his head. He headbutts fucking through the door, and he can sense that there's a demon around, being Nezuko, sleeping in her box. And we got some cool character development on Zenitsu. We expand a bit on his hearing. He explains that he's always been really good at hearing, but also it gives him the ability to kind of read people, because I thought it was kind of an interesting thing. He can hear even like the way they're like their heart, their breathing, their blood, all that stuff, the way it's moving. And he's talking about how there's this calmness and like goodness, I guess, to Tanjiro, which kind of makes sense. If somebody's like upset, you'd be able to hear that. If you could hear, you know, their blood pressure, all that kind of shit, their breathing, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of pick up on that. I don't have fucking dog hearing like damn Zenitsu. And so without being told by Tanjiro, he kind of pieced together there's at least something important in that box to Tanjiro. And he, uncharacteristically, although I feel like there's a little bit of a hidden element in him that we've seen already, decides to protect the box for Tanjiro, in which Borgai gets really fucking pissed because he's coming through and fucking wants to kill all the demons. And they kind of also connect real quick and say that, you know, they recognize they both did the final selection together, which pieces together something for me personally. When we watched the final selection earlier on, they said there's 5 people who made it. We only saw 4. So it's interesting to make that connection. But they're essentially talking about how, like, you know, there's a demon in there, don't stop me. And, you know, his dedication to what he perceives to be worthwhile, trying to protect something for Tanjiro, supersedes that for him. And they get into conflict where he hugs the box, Borgai kicks the fuck out of him, doing the very samurai thing and wanting him to like pull his sword so they can actually fight, and he's not. So it's frustrating to him. Tanjiro comes out, sees this, pieces that together. We get that through 2 different points of view in this episode, and then we are left with something I need to see where it goes, where Tanjiro finally has had enough of watching Borgai beat the fuck out of Zenitsu, and he lunges at him, and that's the end of the episode. So, but he's got a closed fist, no weapon in his hand. So I'm like, is he gonna knock this guy out, or what the fuck's going on? This guy doesn't seem like he would be easily knocked out. And yeah, in my impressions in an arc that I think has been fun exploring Zenitsu as a character, being introduced to the Boar guy without much info, although I know he sticks around because everybody loves this guy. And kind of having fun in what I keep jokingly saying is like a Scooby-Doo mystery. But the demon aspect of it has been kind of okay. I think this episode has rounded it out really well, whereas some of the other, you know, mini arcs that have happened already in the 12 episodes I've seen, 13 now, some of them have just been like good, and like some of them have like built up really good, and I was like, holy fuck, this is awesome. This one was kind of like, okay, this is kind of cool. I was more excited about the new characters than anything. But this episode, I think, wrapped it up nicely, made me care about the last 2 episodes when it comes to the demon more, and also has already made Zenitsu an endearing character to me that I'm sure will only get better as the show goes on. I already thought he was funny. I think how insanely, irrationally ridiculous he is fucking so over the top. It's over the top. That I think it's just fucking hilarious. But then there's also an element to his character that's really interesting, and we're starting to explore that a little further. Borgai I know nothing about, but everything about him I like so far. He's definitely like bad fucking reference, but he's like a seemingly like the Vegeta style character in the sense that he's just like ready to fucking fight, all pride, all that kind of shit. Not trying to compare the 2 directly, but, you know, just that kind of like, you know, you don't know if he's going to turn on you or not kind of situation as far as I've seen so far. Yeah, I think Tanjiro kind of has been playing, you know, second fiddle to some of these guys in these last couple episodes because of they're introducing these guys, and it's been really interesting. The demons almost, you know, are barely existent outside of Q guy's arc that they kind of threw in the last 2 episodes. So, but it's a good episode. I enjoyed it. And like I said, I enjoy it even more because, just like with a movie, I can watch like a decent or good movie. If it has a really good ending, it can make up a lot of anything that felt possibly lost. Not saying this had anything lost in the last 2 episodes, but I do think it was a good resolution to the small arc that happened in this building that was fun. It was fun couple of episodes with this, and I'm interested to see where this goes next. Obviously, they're gonna probably get a new mission, but I'm curious on how Zenitsu and this board dude are going to be incorporated into that. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, for me, my favorite part of the episode would probably be, exploring Zenitsu's character a little more. Especially when you get characters that are, quite obviously part of the main cast. You want to know as much about them as you can, and make them interesting. And I kind of like the dynamic of, currently with Tanjiro having, his sense of smell that has been talked about and slowly expanded upon through episodes, and now
we saw return in a way that actually worked for him this time around.
Yeah,
in this episode.
Zenitsu, talking more about like his hearing as an example, and showing kind of like where he has an edge when it comes to, how he could be someone who could fight demons, for example, that special quality that people have. So, and I really like that. Can't say a whole lot more because I don't want to talk too much about the Boarhead, but it introduces his character a little more. It has still been kind of a shallow introduction to him.
For sure, yeah, that hasn't revealed almost anything about him.
Yeah, because they're definitely trying to still like teach you about. They don't want to teach you two at once.
Yeah, it'd be a little rough.
Yeah,
but all I know about him is he is a more abrasive demon hunter.
Yeah.
Who was also part of the final selection. So he's not even like he's of the same class essentially. So it's kind of interesting.
And they throw it in there too when they're talking about, when they bring up that part. He brings up that his nickname was Mr. Impatient.
Yeah.
And I do think that is a it's kind of a second nod, because the last episode we kind of got that feeling anyways, as he just was like screw it and just blasting through doors. He didn't care where he was going. So.
Yeah, I could see that. The only reason I didn't pay too much attention to that is because like that wasn't established at any point in the show until just now. So I just have to take his word for it.
Yeah, and it's a good first impression, basically, of like, kind of in a similar way how we got a first impression of Zenitsu just groveling and freaking out, of just kind of like the shallow point of their personality. So.
For sure, yeah. I mean, just like for me in real life, when I meet somebody, I can have a pretty quick opinion on them on base level. But once you get to know somebody, there's more to them. And the show's definitely not only trying to go that route with the main characters, but also even with the demons. So it definitely cares about unraveling personalities, which I appreciate, because it'd be so much easier just to like have like badass fights and fun
like,
characters, but
like
not really dive into it.
Yeah, and like all forms of media from different countries, stuff like that, tropes exist.
For sure.
And they could very easily just be like, here's smart glasses guy.
Yeah.
And you would,
which I haven't seen yet.
You would know, right?
Closest thing to that was Yushiro, and he's not that character, so that's nice.
Yeah. And instead of going that route, we're getting characters. So
yeah, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the show, so I mean, it's hard for me to go too into it. It's a pretty cut and dry episode. It was definitely meant to be a resolution and to give us character development on the demon and Zenitsu. So
yeah, I always think the Zenitsu part was more important than the demon part, but the demon part, I mean, that had to be resolved. It was, and they were able to wrap it up in a way that added a little more meaning to it, a little more weight to it, which was nice. Maybe that something from that will come later as well in a connection or something, or at least gave us an overall idea of the hierarchy of the I forgot, Kizuki 12 Kizuki. I don't remember
the 12 moons essentially. Yeah.
Good episode though. I enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to the next episode because I want to know where that fist is going to land. And I want to get to know the characters even more. And I want to know what mission they're going to be going on next. And with the show's first season apparently being 20-something episodes, we are approaching or are
You're
at
halfway
the
now.
halfway mark. So the show's only going to ramp up from here. So let us know in the comments what you guys think of episode 13, anything about this episode without spoiling anything for me, please, that you liked, anything that standed out to you. Maybe you're revisiting this episode and you're like, oh yeah, this is fucking cool, or maybe it's your first time watching it, or maybe you didn't watch it at all. You just heard my recap and you're like, oh, that sounds cool. Maybe you should go watch it because it'd be a lot more fun for you if you watch the show with us. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and stay tuned. We will be putting out our review for episode 14 very shortly. And yeah, I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Thanks, Chevy, for joining me. And this is the Taste Cast. We'll see you later.